Hello, welcome everyone to your Elevated Living Show. I'm your host, Amanda Marie Masters. I am so excited to be on today with all of you. It's a very special episode. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I've got my green on. It's hard to see on this show, but I've got my green. I've got Irish blood in me. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I have an amazing guest on today. I've got Mr. Michael Sheridan on as a guest today. He is the premier dream interpreter on the planet. This guy, when I tune into his energy, he pulls in his master guides. He pulls in high vibrational energies to give you very simplified information on what would be perceived as complex in nature in terms of dreams. Not only is he a phenomenal dream interpreter and master at his work, he's an Irishman. I have an Irishman on for St. Patrick's Day. Yay! Happy St. Patrick's Day, Michael. How are you?
Very good. La Féile Pádraig Seona Dit. That's Irish for Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my goodness. Say that again.
La Féile Pádraig Seona Dit.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm very excited to have you on. Are you going to be doing anything exciting after the show?
Oh, we're definitely going to do something. The kids wouldn't let us skip this day. It's a huge day. Like you were asking me before we went live, it's a huge day in Ireland. Everything stops for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on, and I think we were trying to decide a date, and then I looked at the time and I go, I gotta have you on for St. Patrick's Day. That's just all there is to it. So I'm excited to have you here. We are going to get into Michael's story. And he actually did he interpreted a dream of mine about a year ago now. And since then, a lot of amazing stuff has transpired in my life based on my dream. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. I want to say, everyone coming on right now, if you could please share this out. Whoever shares this the most will get a complimentary 45-minute session with me. So last week we have a couple of winners. Let me look real quick. Last week the winner was Melinda McClung Morris. Melinda, I have reached out to you on Messenger. You'll be receiving a 45-minute session with me for shares. And the week before that was Miss Jen Funt. I also reached out to you regarding a 45-minute session with me. For those of you that may be new, I am a master channeler, spiritual awakening guide, and mind alchemist. So I pull in my connections to the masters, angels, guides, to guide you on what's in your highest and best interest in your life moving forward. So a session with me, a 45-minute session with me, is going to really give you very clear guidance in the direction you need to go. So highly recommend you share this out as much as possible, and I will be contacting you for a 45-minute session. Thank you. We have a lot of wild energy going on right now. There's a lot of creation energy happening. We've got a lot of different types of vibrations coming in from different systems and the planet's movement. We've had some, I don't usually like to subscribe to Mercury retrograde, but it's seemed to be a global issue with technology not working always properly. We had a Facebook flubs a couple days ago, and Instagram, and I attended an amazing conference yesterday. I actually had the opportunity. I want to give Lauren Powers a shout out here. She nominated me for an award. I'm going to just show it real quick because I'm excited. It is the All Ladies League and Women's Economic Forum Congratulatory Award for Iconic Woman Creating a Better World for All. And I'm invited to go speak in New Delhi, India in April. So I was up to that yesterday, but there was technology stuff going on even at the event yesterday. So that was interesting. I want to get right into it with this dream interpreter, Michael Sheridan. I'm so excited to have him on. I first met Michael about a year ago. We met through an amazing woman that used to work for me. She's since moved on, Miss Holly Beatros. Hopefully you're on here today, Holly. She introduced me to Michael and said, you've got to meet this guy. I actually told her about a dream I had. She goes, oh my gosh, you have to send it to my friend Michael. He's an amazing dream interpreter. And I sent him my dream, and it was a dream about a shuttle. I was chosen to go on a shuttle that took off from Disneyland out into the universe in my dream. And he read the dream and he said, I got to have you on my show. His dream interpretation abilities are second to none. What I see happens, like I said before, when he's interpreting dreams, it's multi-layered and there's so many different meanings. And he's going to get into that more so today when we get going here. But there's so many different meanings in these dreams. So very, very powerful. And I'm really excited to have you on, Michael. So I'm going to read a quick bio regarding Michael. He, like I said in the beginning, he's an Irishman. So his bio is part of it is about, you know, his up and coming world for him in Ireland. Michael Sheridan is Ireland's favorite dream expert. He was a regular on the #1 TV talk show in Ireland, Ireland AM, as well as a regular on Ireland's most popular radio shows, including The Inbox on 98 FM, sharing the stage with both metaphysical and movie stars such as Paddy McMahon and Frank Vincent. He's appeared on the BBC and countless other premier media outlets interpreting dreams for his worldwide audience. He's the author of 2 books as well as a radio host with his own show on KKNW. His passion is to see people become all they came here to be and to live their life to its fullest potential. He does this by interpreting dreams. From reading your dreams, he can give clear direction on your life purpose, reveal the gifts that you brought with you to help achieve the purpose, and uncover the blocks you need to overcome to step into alignment. Welcome, Michael. So excited to have you here.
That sounds great. I can't wait to listen to him.
That's you, actually.
Yeah.
So first of all, Michael's got 2 books out. These are incredible books. So How to Interpret Your Dreams. He came out with a book on, you want to explain what's in this book, Michael?
So when I teach courses, that's primarily what I do. And after 15 years of teaching the courses, and people having transformations, that's really what I'm aiming for. Whoever does the courses has a transformation. I wrote this book and I thought, okay, this is going to be so easy because I've been writing newsletters for a long time. And I thought, okay, 3 months, I'll write a book. It took nearly a year. But it's from start to finish. It's very, I would say, technical. The second book is really about me and has my humor. But the first book is like, if you have issues with your heart or with your digestive system, or if you want to know what your gifts are or how to use a particular gift, all those things are in that book. It's split into 3, really, the 3 sections. The first part is kind of educational, takes you from knowing nothing right through to understanding why we dream, what our dreams are trying to tell us, and how they're trying to tell us it. Then there's a psychic development. I don't like that word, but that's the middle section. And then the last section is a dictionary. But I've always said, you know, try not to use a dictionary, try not to be dependent on a dictionary, because you figure out what is a symbol for. Like if you look at a school in a dream, a school is about learning about yourself. So a school in a dream is about learning about yourself. A medical school would be about learning about yourself in order to improve your health. You know, so the best thing would be to understand the key behind symbols. And in fact, I'm writing a book that's just specifically about that, but focused on gifts right now. So don't know when I'll finish that, but that's my current passion.
That's fantastic. Well, and I have your story here.
Yes. So people would ask, because invariably I get onto shows and people ask me why I got into this. And when I say a little bit, they're like, oh, wow, that's fascinating. Tell that story. But that story is not about dreams. That story is about how I fell into the spiritual field when it was something that I used to find offensive and ridiculous. And yet now here I am standing on stages talking to people about it. But my healthy skepticism of things in the spiritual field allows me to stay very grounded and also connect with people who are skeptical. So I primarily work with people who are beginning their spiritual journey and are struggling with finding their gifts and purpose. And using as little as one dream, I can put them in touch with the life they intended.
Beautiful. Well, so let's talk for a moment about the dream that I had a year ago. And your interpretation of the dream. So I'll give a real brief synopsis of the dream. And I want to mention for a second, Cindy Corlick on here who's commenting shared. You don't need to do that. What I do, I mentioned in the beginning, whoever shares this out the most will get a 45-minute session with me as a master channeler, but you don't need to mark shared here in the comments. I go in, I look, I go behind the scenes, I see how much people have actually shared the show, and then I invite you to a 45-minute session. So don't worry about marking shared on here. Just want to mention that real quick. To give a synopsis of my dream, it's a pretty remarkable dream I had about 2 nights after. It was the night actually after I had an incredible day in my life where I got to meet a very influential person, hand him my manuscript for a book I've been writing, and everything played out like it was supposed to. Everything, you know, happened exactly like it was supposed to that day. It was an extremely magical day. And the night after I had this dream, the dream was I went to Disneyland and I had a guide approach me and say, you need to come with me. You know, you're one of the chosen ones to go into this building or whatever it was. So I went into this huge unmarked building at Disneyland, like a giant gray unmarked building with spires on top. And we go in, and the guide kept saying, you're one of the chosen ones. You are to come with me. And it was a small group of us following this guide. And we had to go through like up and down stairs and down into darkness and up into a light. And we would go into these futuristic spaces with pictures on the wall of like shuttles taking off and planets. There was huge relics of stars and planets hanging from the ceiling as we walked through this building, but it was all about pathways. We had to go up and down pathways, and finally we reached the back, you know, the back side of the building, walking through, winding through, and I saw a platform that went out over like a, you know, probably 2 or 3 stories down, and there was a door, and the door led to an entrance into a white, blinding white space shuttle. And it was like, you know, you're going to take off on the shuttle out into the universe. So I got into the space shuttle, and it was like blinding white light. It was hard for me to see almost. But it was weird because the inside of the space shuttle was set up like almost the inside of a cruise ship. There was an area for a bar, and there was like a movie theater and locker rooms and all these things. And when I came in, I was all concerned about socks and underwear being in my bag, making sure I had what I needed. There's all these symbolic things that happen in the dream. I realized I needed to say goodbye to my family. So I left the space shuttle, left the building, crossed the park on my own to get on the cell phone to get connection to say goodbye. Went back. I saw this huge iron statue that had meaning that he explained to me. Came back through the building on my own this time, found the space shuttle, got back in, strapped in to take off out into the universe. So Michael, why don't you give a brief synopsis?
Yeah, put me on the spot. I haven't heard that dream in a year.
of the dream. It was incredible. Here's what I've done, guys. Okay, so in the post here of this show is I highly recommend you watch his dream interpretation of my dream. It's a YouTube video. I have the link in the post. Highly recommend you watch it and see how he interprets symbology in dreams. It was phenomenal. What he came up with was truly remarkable. And now I'm actually walking some of the steps that he was talking about in the dream. Do you remember much of it? Or?
Oh, well, I could figure out pieces of it again. And I do remember pieces of it. So What was interesting about your one is you rarely would have a dream where you have a guide right at the start. So we all have guides or guardian angels. In fact, we have both. But we don't tend to dream of them directly like you did. And your guide saying, hey, follow me, follow me. So it's like the dream is saying, look, you're being guided. So if you think you're on your own, it would imply to me, when you see a start like that, it means that you've done a lot of work on your own and you're feeling like, am I doing the right thing? Am I deluding myself? And that sort of dream straight off grabs you and says, no, you're not. Follow me. Even though the path looks like it's heading into the light and then into the darkness, and so you think you know where you're going, and then you don't. You dip back down and you're wondering where you're going, and then you go back up into the light. The guide is saying, look, this is the path. This is the way it goes. So don't worry about the fact that it doesn't all seem clear. Portions of it are clear, portions of it are not clear. But this is the path you're meant to walk. Yeah. What I loved a lot of the symbols in your dream. The unmarked building, it was saying like this is you kind of operating incognito, and contrast with the end where you're strapping yourself into a space shuttle where you're going to take off and the whole world's going to know about you. And other subtle things in the dream showed you walking among the stars, and the stars in that dream meant celebrities. So it's like you're going to be recognized, and there you hold up this award that you got yesterday or 2 days ago. So I always find it funny. You tend to see like the events in a dream can take time to happen, but they always happen. And it makes me wonder at times too, like how much are we in control of our lives or how much of it is just inevitable? And a lot of it is inevitable, but we are also in control. We can resist and make it difficult on ourselves. But anyway, more back to your dream. It's really shown that you're going to take off. You have to deal with issues around the heart, around family, because that's why I couldn't believe that part of the dream when you left the space shuttle and ran back from the launch pad. I'm like, oh no, because I didn't, where way is this dream going to end? So that's part of like, you don't always take the easy route, but deal with issues around the heart, because that's going to help you with communication, and that's what the cell phone is about. But in this context, the communication is spiritual communication, which is what your communication with spirits, which is what your forte is. And then you do strap yourself in. You're worried about having everything with you, and you have a backpack, which is not good in a dream. So it's still like I hold on to a bit of baggage because I want security. And of course, the less we do that, the better off we are. But that's easy to say, and it's impossible for people to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the dream showed that you have everything you need. There was everything on the spaceship. Absolutely everything on the spaceship. So it reminds you that, look, everything we need in life, we already have. It's all around us. We think it isn't, because we think, okay, look, I've got this block, not in your dream, but I've got this block from childhood. I've got that block from childhood. I had this difficulty, and I'm always struggling with that. And we quite often don't think about it. But the reality is, whatever we pick up in childhood, we intend to pick up in childhood, because working through those issues are what helps us grow spiritually. So again, the difficulties we have in life are part of what we're meant to have on our journey. And of course, we can deal with them at any point in time. And in your dream, you went back, you dealt with the issues with family, and then come back and take off.
And launch
yes.
the universe. Yeah. So, and I love what you said about my underwear. So you were talking about baggage, but what did I have in there? What was I making sure I had?
Well, yeah, and that's good. So the underwear being naked in a dream is the best thing. Of course, people who have dreams where they're naked, they're mortified usually. So being naked is about being yourself. It's about being yourself, not being afraid to be seen as you are. And that's what it symbolizes, nothing to do with nudity. And so underwear is the next closest thing to that. It's like, I'm not putting on a pretense. This is who I am. You're seeing me underneath my clothes. So very, very positive too.
Well, and what you said in the dream interpretation that I really appreciated was I was making sure my underwear was in there, meaning that's the inside of me. I want to make sure if I'm launching out into the universe and I'm going big, that I am who I am. I stay strong as who I am, which is really important. I have a really good question, comment from Emily Harrison, who's actually the founder of Akashic Academy Network, where the show's hosted. Miss Emily, soul sister, she says, I would love to remember even more of my dreams and interact more on that realm. So do you have, people are asking questions about, dream interpretation and different things. Do you have recommendations for how to, dream recall, or how to,
I do.
I would like more control in my dreams. For example, I know people who are like, oh yeah, I get into my dream and I take control. I'm like, how do you do that?
I do have an email list, and one of the first emails, or second or third on that you'll get if you join that list, is about how to improve your dream recall. And that's if you go to dream-analysis.com, just get on that list. You get my dictionary for free by signing up. But that's definitely there. I usually forget to say that. But yeah, there's two things in that. First, how can you remember your dreams better? And the easy answer is sleep more. And that sounds silly, but usually we don't remember our dreams because we are getting so little sleep that when the alarm goes off, we're jumping out of bed. And you want to be in a space where you can give yourself a few minutes before you crawl out of bed. And so an easy trick is to set an alarm, say for 30 minutes or up to 45 minutes earlier than you need to get up, and then set a second alarm in case you fall back asleep. But you will have a less deep sleep because you've already woken yourself up with the first alarm, and you will typically remember the dreams that you have in that space. We tend to remember the dreams just before waking up. If you get up to use the bathroom during the night, usually the dream you had before you get up is the one you remember. And of course, there's reasons for that. Your guides wake you up so that you remember that dream. Dreams work whether you remember them or not, but they work on a level, and that level works regardless of whether you analyze the dreams or not. But it'll work much faster if you analyze the dream, see what's going on, and then take steps in that direction. But that's one thing. So people who are on vacation, they tend to remember their dreams much more easily. And there are other techniques that I give out.
Here's another great, what if you don't dream? So like I have a friend.
Everybody does. Everybody dreams.
Okay, hold on. I have a friend who is a very good sleeper. He goes down, he's out for the night, right? But he's like, I never remember my dreams. Yet when he wakes up in the morning, he will have the plan for what needs to happen next in his life or next in his world. Like bam, bam, bam. But he has no idea what happened in his sleep, right? He doesn't, even if you dream, he doesn't remember. So what is that? Why do people not remember their dreams, and how can they start remembering their dreams?
Because it's unimportant to them. And your friends waking up having everything set is perfect. And we say that, if we have big problems in our life, we say, okay, I'm going to sleep on it. And when we wake up in the morning, we do have ideas about it. And if you think about how many inventions were discovered in dreams, like the periodic table, the scientific method, the sewing machine, all of Einstein's work, he said it was all done based on a meditation, a dream he had where he was sledding at the speed of light. Lots of songwriters say they wake up with the songs. So it's major inventions happen in dreams, and the innovative solutions to the problems in our life also happen in our dreams. But it happens under the radar because we have no interest in our dreams. And, look at the general consensus is that dreams are just garbage, which is absolutely rubbish. That's the garbage. Each dream, there's a meaning in each dream, and you can get a lot out of one dream. But if you look at a whole series of dreams, it's amazing what you can get for a person.
I think it's important, right? And I think it's important to say, I remember you saying before, like if you don't remember your dreams often, you're managing a lot of stuff on the in life here, right? So you're not needing to remember.
But if it's not important to you, then you wouldn't worry about the recall. So people, after they meet me, they tend to remember their dreams. So there's like, it's funny. After I had lunch with you, I remembered this dream that night. And it's just because you've put a spark in your mind that says, hey, there's something in dreams. They're possibly important. And that's all it is. So the more interest you show in the subject matter, the easier your dream recall will become anyway. I have people who do my courses and they remember 7 dreams every night. And I have other people that will remember 3 or 4 in a week. And it's not the quantity of dreams really that matters. You could have 1 dream a month and that you remember, and it's still going to give you an enormous amount of benefit to see what that's about.
So I want to say something real quick here. Michael just mentioned his dream course. So Michael was a software engineer
Yeah.
in Ireland before you started doing this for fun, right? With friends. It was like you started dabbling.
Yeah. So, well, it's why did I start it? I software engineer. I really into the scientific method for everything. I didn't believe in anything that you couldn't see, touch, taste, or hear, that sort of thing. And so I didn't believe in anything in the spiritual field. Not only did I not believe in it, I would have laughed the legs off anybody who tried to bring up the subject matter. But I did the Silva mind control method, the old version of that course, the one that was good. And it involves a lot of meditation. And I was doing it because I used to manage software development teams. And it allowed me have like a mental tool chest of things that I would do. And you do a lot of meditation in that, in practicing using those tools. And after about 1.5 years of doing that, a serious amount of meditation, I suddenly started seeing spirits. I didn't know it was connected to doing the meditation, but that really freaked me out. It wasn't part of my world, and suddenly there it was. I was looking at spirits, and I couldn't deny they're around everybody. And for a while I was thinking maybe I've gone mad. Maybe this is what going mad is like. But it started me on a journey, and after a number of years on that journey of trying to figure out what is life about, because obviously I had it wrong, I discovered dream interpretation. And what stunned me with the dream interpretation is I was going to all these people to find out, like, tell me something. What are my guides saying? Because at this point I knew I had guides. And I'm saying, what's going on in my life? Why am I here? What am I meant to be doing? And then I discovered my dreams had been telling me that all my life. And I'm like, that's so crazy, because to think that I have the answers to all my questions myself, I don't need to go to somebody else. I just need to learn how to interpret dreams. And so I threw myself into learning interpretation of dreams, and I used everybody around me that I could, because I couldn't have enough dreams on my own. And I have amazing dream recall. So I plagued everybody. What are your dreams? What are your dreams? What are your dreams? And eventually my friends set me up and pushed me into doing a course, which I didn't want to do. But it worked out really, really well. And so I started teaching the classes in around 91. And
1991. So you've been doing it for a few years.
Some years.
Years. That's 28 years. You started teaching courses in 1991. That's 28 years.
And if you'd have told me I would still be passionate about dreams this far down the road, I wouldn't have believed you. But they're just amazing, because it's like a language. I mean, it is a language, and it can tell you anything. It can tell you amazing things about life. And so it stays interesting.
Well, and a lot of people, I feel like, miss the mark in dream interpretation. Like, I'll pick up a book. I'll be like, oh, I had this happen in my dream. And I'll pick up a book, let's say like at the bookstore. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. No, this doesn't resonate. So where I was going with you being formerly a software engineer is that you have designed a dream interpretation course that is very, very powerful, and it's systematic for teaching people how to interpret their dreams and understand what their soul purpose is and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
So what I want to do in that course, and I've split it into two. There's like 60 modules in the course, 60 videos in the course. There's 12 modules. And so you're watching these modules, and then I'm also interpreting every dream you have over an 8-week period. And that's the part that is really of benefit for people. You learn how to interpret dreams, but you also learn everything that your own dreams are about. And that doesn't change much in your lifetime. I mean, there are a lot of nuances that can come into things, but your dreams will tell you in that period what your gifts are, why you're here, what your blocks are, what you need to do to heal those blocks. And why you have them. That's the real key part, why you have them. And that's really empowering to people to realize that working on this block is part of my life purpose. I didn't realize that. So if I clear this, then it's going to unlock all these other things for me. And then they do that. They typically do that on the course. And it's great to see the transformation, to see the changes. But you can still get an enormous amount out of one dream. But for people to find out what their gifts are, that's really the part that excites me most, to say, you know, you're a writer, you should be writing, you should, here's the type of book you should be writing. And people just love it. And of course, it has to resonate with them. You mentioned resonance. So the beauty of dreams is they come from your higher self. They're messages from your higher self saying, this is what your life purpose is. This is why you're here. This is what you're meant to be doing and why you're meant to be doing it. And when you have all the detail, of course, it's going to resonate. So they always have that aha moment that says, okay, I get it. I know this dream is really about me.
Wonderful. I have to ask, I've had a lot of like war dreams, not fun dreams. I wake up and I'm like, what was, I can't even make sense. Or I have dreams where I can't make sense of it. Right? I'm trying to like navigate. I get on a boat and the boat has all these levels to it and I can't figure it out, or I'm trying to catch up with everyone. I mean, I've had dreams where it's like, we're almost like there's fires and we're in a war zone and we have to find a secure place. Or I've had, you know, my dreams have not always been pleasant, yet I wake up and I live my day and things are great. So can you kind of explain how, even if things are happening in a dream that seem or appear violent, or what is that? It's not always a bad thing. It's just indicating a direction.
Well, war dreams represent conflict. They can represent something else. If you have an illness, like if you've got a cold, you know, you can dream about wars. But you know, if you have that, and if you don't, then it's about a conflict. And it's quite often it's about an inner conflict, because you will know, say if you're having a conflict with your parents or one of your parents or with your partner, then that's going to be an obvious thing. So it's usually about, you want to change direction or you want to do something a little bit different. You're not sure how to do it. And that can show up in a dream as kind of like a war where you're battling it out, trying to figure out, what should I do? Why should I do it this way, etc. We probably should say that we will analyze some of the dreams if people drop them into comments as well. Isn't that your intention?
Yeah, well, some people are. I just wanted to get some of the basics, like underlying, like general questions people, before getting to specific, because dreams are, so many people don't touch dream interpretation, which I've said to you before. Yeah. I wouldn't touch dream interpretation. I wouldn't sit here. I mean, I'll get stuff if I'm one-on-one with someone and they'll talk about their dream and their experience. I'll just get stuff directly for them. But to be able to blanket dream interpretation and be able to kind of come up with symbology and stuff like that, to me, it's so multi-layered that it's even beyond me. So most people don't touch it. So I wanted you to give some kind of like a baseline. Karen Linder Trussell has a really good question. She says, sometimes I fall asleep listening to guided meditation. I find myself slipping into dreams. Are these dreams influenced by the guided meditation? Are they accurate?
Yeah, they will be influenced by the guided meditation for sure. And so you can't always trust what you get in those, but it's still like a daydream, you know. So if the guided meditation is about giving you a particular answer, then the symbols you get in the dream that you slip into are most likely going to be a direct answer to whatever that guided meditation is about. So it's influenced, but still going to be typically relevant. And the interpretation of symbols you get that way is exactly the same as the interpretation from dreams. Like we dream in symbols. They're our first language. We dream in the womb. So it is our first language. And there's no need to invent a second language for daydreams or for answers that you would get in a meditation. Okay. Yeah. So and I just want to address too, you said like these conflict dreams and horrible dreams, they don't necessarily have a bad meaning. It's a dream you're definitely going to remember. And that's the important thing. So a nightmare could have a really important positive interpretation that says, here's how to solve this big problem in your life. And it's just a way of guaranteeing that you're going to remember that dream out of all the dreams you have in that night.
Well, yeah, I wanted to address that because I mean, I have all kinds of dreams, you know, I'll have amazing dreams where I'm swimming in the ocean with dolphins and I don't know. So mine can be all over the place, but I wanted to better understand. So Cindy Corluck says, I had a lucid dream involving all kinds of rainbows. Do you know what the meaning of this is? Well, once dreams go lucid, it changes. So if there are techniques you can learn to help you realize that you're dreaming. And that's what lucidity is about, becoming aware that you're in a dream. But there's lots of levels of lucidity. You can be aware you're in a dream, but you're still kind of like in the dreamscape. But then most people try to get to the point where
they become aware, and then they want to leave the dream, or they want to fly, or they want to do various different things. The ideal thing to do is to stay in the dream and face the fears that the dream are trying to get you to face. So if somebody becomes lucid and they see rainbows, I would suspect that this is something that she likes to do when she becomes lucid. So she then is controlling what's happening, and that's a different thing altogether.
So lucid dreaming, how do you know you're in a lucid dream?
Well, lucid means you know you're in a dream. So tricks are, everything changes in a dream. So if you're reading a book and you look away from the book and look back, the words on the page are going to be different. Or you look at the clock and look away, the time on the clock is going to be different. So you can even buy these watches, for instance, that buzz every hour, and it's the intention is to train you to check reality. So you might look at the clock twice to see, does it change? And then you will bring that habit into your dream, and very quickly, like just a number of days, you will have your first lucid dream if you've never had one before. And so this is the thing that people go after. They want the lucid dreams. But once you become lucid and you step out of the dream world, then you don't interpret it anymore. That's you playing around in that sphere, in that plane. But if you become lucid and you realize, hey, that wall that I'm building is about me separating myself from others, you can knock down the wall. Or if you're locking doors, you can realize, hey, that's a bad thing, and open the doors. So it's that's the best thing you can do when you become lucid. Overcome your fears and face the things that the dreams want you to face. Because here's the thing, everything that comes to us in our lives is what we're in alignment with, and our dreams are trying to get us into alignment with what we need to attract into our lives. So if I overcome my fears of interacting with people in a dream, then those fears are going to go away, and whatever's next on my agenda, next on my path, is going to come to me. So deal with the stuff there, and it stops the subconscious. So we consciously know what we want, and we think that's what I should get because this is all I'm asking for. And we don't realize that 90% of what we get in our life is what is in our subconscious. The fears that we've picked up, the things that we're afraid of, they are also creating ripples in the universe. And they're much bigger waves than the waves where I say, I want a better job. I have 8 other programs running in my subconscious that say why I should not get that job, why I'm undeserving, whatever it is. We need to kill those, and our dreams are trying to kill those. And so if you become lucid and you interact with the dream the way the dream wants to, you purge them from your subconscious. So your life becomes easier.
That's incredible. I don't know that I've really had many lucid dreams, and I want to ask this question. A couple of people have asked it. Can you set intentions before you go to sleep?
Yes.
To lucid dream, to astral travel or learn things in your dreams, that's something I teach. I tell, people, you can set intentions for doing different things in your dreams, which I have. So I've set intention to go learn or do this or do that. And it's happened off and on, but I don't know that I've had lucid dreams. So I want to set intention.
No, the lucid dream intention, you can set intentions to say, I want to have a dream that gives me the answer to this problem, and meditate on that a little bit. It doesn't even have to be a big meditation, just before going to bed. And you might have to do it a number of nights, but it will work. Basically, if you don't set an intention, your dreams will pick, your higher self will pick the weakest aspect of your functioning. So whatever is the most important for you to work on, that's something that you're going to get the best benefit out of, that's what's going to trigger your dreams. But when you do the intention setting, that eventually will override it, and it's like you'll definitely get the answer. But the intention to lucid dream, unless there's a specific benefit to you to lucid dream, your higher self isn't going to help you with that one too much, because you're then, it's like, hey, send me that letter, that, and then you just chuck the letter right in the garbage, and you say, okay, every time I get this letter, I can go on a date with the postman, and it's not so. The important stuff is the dream. What you do in a lucid dream when you become lucid is typically more driven by your subconscious than anything else.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michael. I'm looking at some of these comments. I have a dream about, let's see. Yeah, people are asking a lot about in a process for activating my dream, or how do I remember my dreams?
Yeah, so like I said, sleep, but there are other techniques. You can use a glass of water. If you get a glass of water before going to bed. Put your hands around the glass of water so you're not. I don't know if my hands are on camera, but you're not touching your hands together, and you imagine that energy is traveling between your hands, which it is, especially if you're a healer. And if you can see energy, you'll see this. So you're imagining the energy is traveling between your hands through the water and charging the water. And intention is the important thing with energy. So don't worry if you can't see it. This is what you intend. And then pick up the glass of water, drink half of it, and then put it on the nightstand and cover it. And when you wake up in the morning, drink. When you're drinking it, say, you know, I'm going to have a dream that I remember tonight. And when you wake up in the morning, finish it off. And it's working on a few levels. One is the energy that you're putting into the water. The other is you're setting. The other is you're setting an intention with doing that. And then you're also doing an association trick with the brain. Like the brain, everything with the brain is to do with association. And we don't even realize it, you know, but it's all association. So I was going to say something there. But, so the association then from drinking the water and drinking it in the morning, and then the intention that goes with that helps you with the dream recall. Okay. And, but there are lots and lots and lots of techniques. They're just two. You're chugging water.
I am drinking water right when you say that. Anne Brooks has a very interesting question. So she asked what kind of process, how do I reactivate my dreams? And the reason why she asked that is, oh, my screen's going crazy. Hold on. I just had it on here. Oh, 4 years ago, I had prayed to block my dreams as they were explicit and graphic, and I felt awful. I don't understand how the quote unquote dark had taken over my dreams.
Well, she doesn't say in what way they're explicit or graphic. And the best way to deal with dreams that are like that is to find out what those dreams are about. So if the dreams are, say, sexual in nature, if that's what she means by graphic, if you're, and that's a very common dream, if you are having sex with a man in a dream, the dream is asking you to get intimately in touch with your male side. And it's not about the sex at all. And vice versa if it's a woman, and it doesn't matter what your gender is. And our male side is to do with confidence, belief in yourself, feeling worthy of the space you occupy, all those things. You know, so if you're going to stand up on a stage, you need male energy, whether you're a man or a woman. It's nothing to do with being a man or a woman. We all have male and female energy within us. Right. And certain things that we do require us to be in touch with our male energy. So if it's graphic and it's sexual and it's about having sex with a man, then that's what the dream is asking you to do. Get in touch with that energy. And then when you know, or with that side of yourself, and when you know what that's what it's about, those dreams will stop. If it's graphic in other ways, if there's lots of killings and murders, then you look at what way are you persecuting yourself in reality, if that's what it is. And we don't know what yours is. So if you're persecuting yourself in reality, you can dream of persecution in a dream, either you being persecuted or other people being persecuted. And right. Again, so you look at it, and here's the thing about guides and our higher self. You know, you could ask somebody, if it's a one-to-one, you say, do you think God or your guides could forgive you for the worst thing you've ever done in your life? And a lot of people would say no, and I would agree with them. They will never forgive you for those things because they never judge you in the first place. So they have never condemned you for anything you've ever done, so they don't need to forgive. And this concept of unconditional love, we love the term, but it's almost impossible to comprehend that love is just what it is. It's just there. Somebody is going to love you regardless, love you as you are. And that's the way your guides are. And people who have near-death experiences, this is what they talk about when they meet beings of light, the amazing love that they feel emanating from these beings. So anyway, your dreams will typically say, here's why you're doing this to yourself. And this is part of your path. Even if it's the very worst thing you can imagine, this is part of your path. You getting into that space so that you can then do something in this lifetime to clear what it is you need. I think that person who's blocked it will need to go to an energy healer, though, to help. It's something you could do, Amanda, to unblock that request that they put in. But isn't it interesting that you can ask your guides via prayer to prevent you having this recall, and it happens? It doesn't mean that you don't dream. You don't have the recall. And that's typically going to be a block in the brow chakra that needs to be worked on.
Very interesting. Yeah. Anna says sheepishly admitting that her dream, they are very explicit sexually, sometimes in content, or they were, as well as violence.
Yeah.
So both.
Yeah. So the violence is, interestingly, if you're doing a lot of work on yourself, your dreams tend to get violent, just before this major transformational change. And it's a very positive thing when you see, like, it's typically, they start off with bloody people, with limbs cut off and all that sort of stuff. And then it transforms into people in bandages. They have been injured and they're healing. And then that all disappears. And typically what we find is when we face whoever the protagonist is, it turns out to be, oh my God, that's somebody from my high school. I know him or I know her. And the conflict is over and those dreams just stop. And so it's usually right before this change that these things happen. So it would typically be somebody who was working on themselves with a goal, and then these dreams change. But maybe she was at a point where she just didn't know, what do I need to do next? And a lot of the times it's just ride the wave. But those graphic dreams, they typically only last a few weeks. So it's interesting. They probably lasted longer for her. But yeah, you look at why you're having them. And I kind of cheat. When I interpret a dream, I also check with my guides, did I get the analysis right?
Exactly.
And they will
that makes you laugh.
Yeah, they will add information to it. And so something like that is like, okay, yeah, this is the dream. Here's what it's saying. And here's what else you can do. Here's something else that you may not know that's going to help you with this problem.
Perfect. This has been such a full conversation with lots of information, lots of knowledge, a couple of things. I want to invite you, Michael, after this show to go into the comments here and respond to people.
Sure.
And I'll provide your website. So I provided his website, which is, what is it? I put it in the
dream-analysis.com.
Dream-analysis.
Yeah, you guys say hyphen, don't you? Dream-analysis.com.
Yeah, dream-analysis.com. Yes. And then also there's one last thing I want to ask, because there's a lot of people asking questions and making comments, and I would love for you to be able to get on after and respond.
Sure, yeah.
If they're interested in doing more with you, they can. Death is not necessarily a bad thing. It could be an aspect of your life that's no longer serving you, and it dies in your dream.
It's a good dream.
Because people freak out. They wake up from a dream, they have a family member that died in their dream, a pet, whatever, and they're like, oh my God, does that mean it's imminent? Is it happening? Right? So let's talk about that for just a second. And then we got to go.
Okay, so if you dream that a particular family member dies, say you dream that your dad dies, then it's not about that person dying, it's about their influence dying. So the dream is saying, okay, there's something going on in your life right now that you're doing, but you're doing it differently than you would do if this person was not around. So imagine this person isn't around, pretend they died, what would you now do? And so the dream is asking you to do that, despite the fact that they're there. So ignore their influence, let their influence go, and do that. And so an example is one woman who had that dream, kept dreaming of her dad dying. And I asked her what was going on. And she had, she wasn't married. She had a 7-year-old. Her son was coming up to being 7. And she always wanted her son to have a sibling, a constant playmate. And she thought her dad would hate that. And this is in Ireland where there's different views on that, or there was anyway, when I was younger. And so she didn't have a sibling because she knew it would hurt her dad. And the dream was saying, that's crazy. You're not living your dad's life. You're meant to be living your life. Do what you want to do. And so it's not about death at all. And it was actually a very positive dream. Now, she still didn't, but that's what it meant.
Wow. Okay, so there you go. Very, very interesting. I know I've had certain things. I've had death in my dreams, and I'm going through a huge transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things death mean are there's a major. So for any new aspect of you to find the light, an old aspect has to die. So my skepticism and lack of belief in spiritual things had to die in order for me to learn about this field and start working in this field. It's obvious, it's black and white to know that, but we don't always know that ourselves, and we want something different. We want to do something different, and our dreams are saying, yeah, but you have to change. And that's all it is. It's about that if you looked back, you would say, we don't always recognize it at the time, but if we look back in our lives, we go, that was when I changed. And that's going to be when you had the death dream, when you became a different person.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine was going out in the universe and whether I was going to pick up a pair of socks or not on a shuttle.
Yes, and you did.
I did pick up the pair of socks. Okay, so Ashley Lee, she's a partner. I just have to say this before we head off. Ashley Lee is a partner of mine. She's a master. She's an Ascended Master here. We run the children's meditation program together. She's saying thank you to both of us, and she said beautiful synergy. I highly respect what she has to say. So I had to throw that out there. Ashley,
thank you, Ashley.
We run that. She works with children, and she actually posted on here in the comments about helping them lucid dream or supporting them in their dream.
Children have very different dreams. Children's dreams are horrific. Children get murdered, slaughtered, dismembered, all sorts of things in their dreams. So if you're looking at dreams and you ask your child what you dream of, people think, oh my God, there's something wrong with my child, because their dreams are so different from an adult's dreams. So that's something to bear in mind. Because they're coming to terms with their mortality.
Just opened another door here.
That's
most important. I have 3 children, and I've told you about, especially my youngest son's dreams.
Yeah,
they're intense. Like,
they're coming to terms with their mortality, the fact that they can die. They come from the immortal plane where they know there's no harm can happen. And you come to the physical plane where it's like, don't walk in front of traffic, don't touch the stove, and we drill all this fear into them, and that fear shows up in their dreams. But also for good reason, because it's like, you get one shot, don't walk off a cliff. That would be stupid. So the dreams are really a lot about coming to terms with the physical body. So they dream about a lot of animals and how your body can be hurt.
Wow, interesting. Michael, happy St. Patrick's Day, Michael, my fellow Irishman friend.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
And my grandmother was born in Ireland, I told you. So I'm British Isles. I'm a mix, though. I'm like a British Isles mutt. So I don't know how you feel about that as an Irishman.
Oh, it's funny. When you move to America to live, you even hug an Englishman when you're over here. It changes. Perspective changes.
Yeah, it can. Thank you so much for being on. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Michael. I'm sure you guys are going to have your fun party day with your children, etc., and grandbabies. And thank you so much for everyone joining. So in the post are 2 important things. Number 1 is Michael's website is in the post of this video here. Number 2 is the YouTube video of his dream interpretation for me a year ago. He interpreted a dream of mine a year ago about me going to Disneyland, leaving my family, departing from my family, going into an unmarked building with a guide and a small group, and taking off in a shuttle into the universe. His interpretation of my dream is phenomenal. So that YouTube video is in this post. Michael, like I said, I invite you to respond to these comments here. And whoever, like I said, shared this video the most, I will be going on the back end and seeing who shared the most, and you'll get a 45-minute session with me. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining. So
thanks for having me.
I absolutely adore you. And we'll have to connect again soon on here because people have a lot of questions. We could do part 2.
Okay, well, anybody who signs up on my list and sends me a snippet of a dream, I'll give it an interpretation for them.
Oh,
I don't normally make that offer, so.
He does not make that offer. He's a busy man. So what he's saying is, for you listeners out there today, if you go to his website, sign up for his newsletter, he'll get your email today. If you, and then email him, he with the dream that you have a question about, he will respond. So that's a big deal, guys. So go to his website, sign up for his newsletter, email him, and he will respond to you.
I may regret that.
I would reference the Facebook event. That's also important. So anyway, we've got to sign off. Coming up next here on the Akashic Academy Network is Spirit Sessions with the amazing Bex Marie, Rhonda Elliott, Teresa Warren. They're phenomenal women. They always have really big names often on that they interview on their show. Very interesting. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you at 8 a.m. Pacific time next Sunday morning. I'm your host, Amanda Marie Masters, and you're watching the Elevated Living Show. Take care.